So let's start off with what Jupe stands for. Jupe stands for growth. Now, talk a little bit about what this means.
Jupiter started with a very simple thing, right? We started by growing Solana. And as we go along, and start with growing crypto. The question is that how do we grow crypto in a way that it really has a positive impact? I think we want to grow the culture we want. And that's why talking about PPP, like transparency, CAT, right, and constant communication.
Where does growth really come from? Obviously, it comes from having products that create real value for real people in the real world. But I think fundamentally what has powered Jupe's growth so far and what will be the foundation of Jupe's growth going forward is this combination of energy and ideas. I think it's those two kind of key components. You need the energy of the community, this passion of people who actually want to change the world for the better on the one hand, but critically, you need the right ideas, as we say, right? The ideas are really the kind of guiding force to make sure that you can push things in the right direction, because not all growth is good growth. That is the kind of important piece to understand here. When you put energy together with high caliber ideas, that's where the growth really gets unlocked. The second thing that Jupe stands for is experimentation. Talk about a little bit about experimentation and how that's been critical so far to what Jupe is.
We're going to run a pretty big DAO experiment. In the coming year, you're going to see a lot of platform experiments.
I think for me, you think about where does growth come from? It also comes from you have to experiment your way towards greatness. There's an essay that I love called the Done Manifesto. In order to get things done and actually start to move things forward, you have to take little bets and experiment in public fearlessly. Now, this comes at a cost, right? Because when you're experimenting, things don't always work. And we've seen that. But if you have the kind of courage to try this experimentation, to push boundaries in new ways, I think you get things like the decentralized work groups, which are now being copied by many other DAOs and communities out there. Always be learning is another way to put this, right? How do you deal with it when experiments go awry?
Before you experiment, I think you have to have the very clear expectation that you might not win. Failing is only losing if you don't get up.
Yeah. It's only really a failure if you give up or don't learn something. So Jupe stands for growth. Jupe stands for experimentation. And the final piece here of the pie is Jupe stands for change. What kind of change does Jupe stand for, Meow?
I feel like the way we go about the whole thing, right, is that we go like, hey, what are some things that we think are prevailing things in the broader crypto or the world culture that want to change? We as a community need to go need to go like, hey, you know what? Let's think of the world we want to see, right? And just go for it. And that's the courage that I want us to have. Yeah.
As we're going through this right now, it's kind of occurring to me the way in which courage actually underlines all three of these key things that Jupiter stands for, right? It is the courage to take the big swing, to have the ambition to be able to grow. There's the courage to experiment, knowing that you might fail when the experiment goes out there and you might look a little bit foolish. And then there's the courage to kind of stand up for what you believe in, even when it is not cool and even when it is not the easy way. The easiest thing in crypto, as anybody who's been here for a little bit knows, is to be shady. And I think if we want to change the perception of crypto as a whole, if we're trying to reach out to the next billion people, we cannot go forward with the culture of the past. Hopefully it is clear to everybody right now. Jupe stands for growth. Jupe stands for experimentation. Jupe stands for change. If these are the kinds of values, if these are the kinds of things that get you excited, my friends, you are in the right place.